Welcome to kind of an impromptu video where we're going to talk a little bit about the new generation of the Boss Katana. Now, Boss is teasing this as the Generation 3. I don't know if that's what they're going to call it, but that's what it's looking like right now. Don't know if it's going to be called the Mark III. Now, the Mark 1 was never called the Mark 1 until the Mark 2 came out. It was just the Boss Katana, and then the Mark 2 came out. So the first one was then labeled the Mark 1. Is this going to be the Mark III? Is that what everybody's going to call it? Are we going to call it the Gen 3? I don't know. Maybe Boss wants to differentiate it from the Mark II by calling it the Gen 3. I don't know, but I'm excited for it. I'm eager to see what the price point is and what new features on it. Now, the Mark II was a huge improvement, in my opinion, over the Mark 1. I never had a Mark 1, but looking back at the Mark 1 and seeing some of the limitations on it as far as effects go, I didn't like that whole idea. And I think Boss really missed the mark when they released the Katana Air EX, and it didn't have those same improvements like from the Mark 1 to the Mark 2. And you still had those half knobs where half of it was boost and if half of it was a mod. Sure, it sounded great. The enclosure was nice, but I wish that Mockingbird would shut up. I think it's a Mockingbird. I think it's a Mockingbird. It might be. There's a bird outside my window. It's making all sorts of noise. You might be able to hear some background noise. Hopefully not too badly. So let's talk about the Katana Generation 3. Now, a lot of people are saying what they would like it to have and what they would wish it would have. All that has already been decided. Everything's already been engineered, and some of it might be a little bit unrealistic, especially if we want to keep the cost of this amp in the same window that it already is. Because if you start adding too much to it, the cost of it's going to go up. The cost of the Air EX is like almost $700, $700, and that's just kind of insane for what it is. It's just a desktop amp. So let's talk about some things. I'm betting that it is going to be coming with the AIRD technology instead of the COSM. Now, the COSM, in case you're not aware, COSM is the technology. It's composite object sound modeling. Boss has been using it for a very long time, and it has served them well. And that's how they model the amps that are currently on, like the ME80 and the GT1000, GT100. I might be mistaken on that one, but they've been using it on the Katanas too. And now on the ME90, they have the AIRD, which stands for Augmented Impulse Response Dynamics, and you also have an IR loader. So if Boss has integrated AIRD into the Gen 3 Katana, I kind of hope they have an IR loader where you can load an IR. If you're not familiar with an IR loader, an impulse response captures the dynamics and feel and sound of certain aspects of whether it's an amp, a speaker cabinet, a microphone, or where that microphone is set. It captures all of those things and it simulates them. So with the AIRD technology, it's a little more natural feel of impulse response as opposed to the COSM. But COSM worked great, but I think it's time to move on. And some of these other options that people are wanting, I kind of agree, I kind of don't, because I don't think they're as important. And again, cost effectiveness is very important when it comes to this amp and people that mainly play it in their bedroom. So some of those things, everybody's always like, I hope it has a tuner, I hope it has Who gives a shit about a tuner? I'm sorry. Tuners, you can buy a clip-on tuner for $10 to $15. A tuner is not that important on an amp like this. It's just more crap that they got to try to engineer into it, and I don't think it's as important as a lot of people say it. Get a pedal. Get a clip-on. A stupid little clip-on like this is like $15 and works just fine. Now, if you want much more precise tuning, get yourself a good Boss tuning pedal. Even get a cheaper $30 Legato tuner pedal. They work just fine. Just put it between your amp and your guitar. A tuner on an amp is just, it's not that important to me. A looper. A looper would be cool, but you're going to have to integrate that into some kind of foot switch. I'm hoping the JFC still works with the Gen 3. I don't feel like buying another external foot pedal for the Gen 3, but we'll see. Boss is kind of funny about that stuff, so Cross your fingers on that one, because I know a lot of you probably have an air step, and I don't know if it's going to work with the Gen 3, but we'll find out. At the very least, I hope the GAFC and the GAFC EX still work with the Gen 3. There's no release date for the Gen 3 yet that I know of. They just kind of did a little box with a black sheet over it that says Gen 3, are you ready, or some crap like that. But it's coming. They did say 2024. So, as I mentioned, I hope it has an IR loader, because I've got some pretty good IR speaker-wise and microphone-wise that I think sound great with the ME90. And whenever I actually get around to doing that video for the ME90, you'll see that, and you'll see the ARD technology. Let's see what else we got. USB-C. I'm really hoping it has USB-C on the back instead of USB A and B. It's time to get with the times. Everything's USB-C. Have it USB-C. And also, some people want to have Bluetooth. And I think that's kind of important, or at least a Bluetooth option like the ME90 has, where you can buy the external one. And if not, even if you do, another thing that would be great was if you had the option of a mobile app and a desktop app. Mobile app that you can use with USB-C straight to your phone, and a desktop app the same way. You can run USB-C to your desktop and use it like that. But sometimes Bluetooth can be a little finicky. That's why I'm always a little weary of Bluetooth, and I've said it in other videos as well. But Bluetooth, or at least the option to buy that, would be nice. But I would rather see USB-C and a mobile and a desktop app integrated into it. That would be fantastic. Another thing that wouldn't hurt, but it's totally not necessary, would be an LED screen, something on top. I don't know exactly what it'd be used for, how big it would be, but it would be nice to have it. And then if you could save your patches and see what those patches say without having to connect to a computer and whatnot. Now, again, all these things have already been decided by Boss. They've already been engineered, integrated into this new Generation 3, so it's just a waiting game for us now. They've already got all that figured out, and if it's going to be released this year, they're probably already working out the bugs and maybe any kind of firmware updates. And hopefully, I would like to see firmware updates be a lot easier to do. I would like to see firmware updates be able to be handled through at least a mobile app or a desktop app. That would be a lot easier and make it so much easier. That's a lot of people's pet peeves, is the firmware updates, because your firmware's got to match your Tone Studio, and if it doesn't, it's a pain in the ass. And then you got to make sure that you drop the files within, disconnecting, connecting, all this. And other brands like Fender and the Mustang have made it so easy to update the amp without having to do all that nonsense. So I really hope they've listened to a lot of people. I wish they had sent out a survey to everybody that has registered a Boss Katana on Roland's website. That would have been a smart thing to do that and kind of gather information on what people actually want instead of just doing whatever the hell you want. Boss and Roland are brilliant. They do all these fantastic things, and their instruction manuals are getting a lot better these days. But I just wish they would listen to people a little bit more going forward and integrate in what people actually want. But we'll see. Now, I did think about contacting Boss, or trying to, and see if I could get in on the pre-release, sort of like all these other sites do, because I do a lot of Katana and Boss content. And I would love to be able to be one of those people that release it all on the same date, but at the same time, I don't. I don't really want to fall into that whole category. And I don't want that pressure. I don't want to be pressured into saying what they want me to say. And I don't want to be pressured into that timeline of trying to learn the amp and making such a good quality video to release on the same day as everybody else. As cool as it would be, I don't think I want that, because I've only got so much time, and I still work 9 to 5, and sometimes weekends just aren't enough time for me to do all this. So, all right, let's wrap it up, because I'd like to try to keep this under 10 minutes. Why don't you tell me what you would like to see in the Boss Katana Generation 3? Type down in the comments below, and I want to hear from you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.